Hello YouTube, I am Joe. Today let's talk about polishing plastic. Now, polishing plastic is not a hard thing to do. You simply need cotton buffs and some type of aggregate to get rid of your problem. This Novus product comes in a heavy duty, which is, you better be serious and really want to spend some time if you're going to turn this upside down, squirt this onto your plastic. This will really take out some heavy duty stuff, but it takes forever to bring it back from what you've done to it. So this is for the really, really trash surfaces. This here, the number 2, is your typical, I've got a little problem here and there on it, I just wish was gone. Now, I believe I can show you some of that right there. It's so hard with all these lights. Doing acrylic shots is nearly impossible without all the glare. Bottom line, we are going to turn this back into a clear, perfectly clear, not just frosted piece of acrylic. Now, the easy thing to do to start, get yourself a real smooth, soft surface. Lay it out so that you don't make your product worse than we're already at. Get yourself some cotton buffs, if you will. And then we will begin. Now, first thing you're going to do is check to see what you're trying to remove. If you can feel it with your fingernail, that's really heavy-duty scratch remover. What I prefer myself, versus starting over so it's absolutely perfect like new, that'll take hours, and it's definitely doable, but you better be ready to put in some serious time. There is a better way though. If you take the number 2 and you work it in really good, you'll find that you can turn those white scratches clear, and because there isn't a real big ditch and it's a very fine scratch, you shouldn't notice it with your eye unless you're looking up at a light with it and stuff and, purposely scanning it for imperfections. That is really the only way you'll see it. I can get this back to clear where it literally looks really, really good, just with the number 2 and with the number 1. Pretty simple to do. Let's get started. All right, after you've shaken up your product really, really, really extra good, start out by putting a few dots of the number 2 out. And next you're going to take your cotton swab and smear all that in good. Load up that cotton nice so that you're not using it dry anywhere. Looks like we need a little bit more to get started. You should not need that much after you get your cotton started and get it loaded a little bit. Then you're good to go. Now, what I like to do is follow a pattern one way. And after you've done it for, I don't know, many strokes we'll call it, turn it in to the 90 degree, or turn it to the 90 and continue on, because you don't know which way all the scratches have been put into the plastic. Some are left to right, some are top to bottom. If you do all one method, all one way, which is I like to do, you're going to spend more time getting the scratches out because you're not going the right direction with them, let's say. So if you keep it moving, you're better off. Towards the end of the polish, when you're almost done, is when I will only go one way. For now, you can continue moving it. It will only behoove you to get your scratches out a little faster. But make sure that you're not going to rub on a dry surface. If you see it starting to clear out and the haze goes away, you're probably getting it soaked into the cotton, and you can go back and give it a light application and do it again. But you want to keep this moving. Just keep playing the game. Turn it until you have all sides have been buffed, so that you have 4 different ways you buffed it. And then you should be good. And the reason why I say 4 different ways is because you're holding it on 2 different corners. And those 2 corners never end up getting done as well as the rest of it because you're holding it on the corners. So to go over it a little extra probably isn't going to hurt you. You're trying to get out scratches, and it's all about repetition at this point. After you think you're done, you think you have it pretty well handled, change out another cotton pad, buff off as much as you possibly can if you think you're going to change to the next level. You don't want to cross-contaminate. You will be polishing forever if you do that, and you'll never get to your desired shine because it's contaminated. So on this lip, for instance, you got to pay real close attention because like painting, it wants to drip down that edge or get caught on that edge as you're buffing, and that will cross-contaminate. So you want to take care of that good. Buffer off real nice. Oh, I think we're looking just fine now. I don't have any problem with where we are now. Is it 100% perfect? No. Is it really, really, really good? Yep. And that's where I want to be. Really, really good. I think that's pretty decent. Now you can even get rid of, these are milling marks. This isn't an actual one that we used in production. This is one of my samples that I put together that I didn't like. So I decided to take it home and make it mine. And one of the things I didn't do is polish in here properly. You can see how that's kind of frosty and it's not real good and there's a little white there. I just kind of threw this together quickly so I'd have something for me. All right, but that is something too that you could take this and you could get wild in there and that'll take all of that white out of there and get it right back to clear again. And I'm going to try that and I will be right back in a couple of minutes. Okay, it's really tough to show you guys this, but this was 50 strokes back and forth, just pushing right into the corner with this. And it cleared it out pretty darn good for 50 strokes. Could you get it better? Sure. But it's so hard to show you guys this. Clear is so tough to work with on camera to show you what we're talking about. But you can tell, looking through that, it's not too bad. Now I didn't do the other edges, just this one here. But it looks pretty good. I gotta say the clarity has improved dramatically. And I don't think I need that any better than it is. That looks beautiful. Do I have some micro scratches still in it? Yep. But can you see them? It's so hard now. You have to reflect the light off. It's the only way you can see what's still there. But it's all clear again. That's the key. That's what we're looking for, right? Next step, whatever plastic you want to do, it's all about how resilient the plastic is. For instance, polycarbonate in safety glasses. That is a resilient plastic designed to be bulletproof and flexible and all that good stuff. You can cold bend it without heating it. The problem with polycarbonate is because it has that resiliency, you will never get a 110% perfect polish out of it. You can get things close, but it will never be perfect. Just if you remember that. Acrylic, on the other hand, you can get to literally look brand new because it's so hard. It's all about the durometer of the product. The harder the plastic, the better it will buff. So for instance, a clear lens on something that was very, very inexpensive will be made out of clear styrene. And that is one of the softest clear products there is. And to polish clear styrene is next to impossible. You would have to do some of the lightest touching you can ever imagine with cotton. If you think you can push down on it at all, it's unbelievable how you'll never get rid of the frost because it's a very resilient plastic, too soft. So if you're going to be doing something that is a bezel of something that was very inexpensive, be very careful. Go real gentle. Again, cotton only. And I would start with just this. I don't know that I would go right away to number 2. Try with your number 1 first, and if number 1 doesn't clear it, then you can move on to the next version. But if you start with number 2, you'll never know if it only needed just a little bit of touch-up. You've already now dug the hole, if you will. Now you have to fill it. So start light duty first and then move on. Then the very last thing you'll want to do is hit it with some of the number 1, some plastic clean and shine. There's also a product out there called Brillianize. There's several that work very good as just the final last polish, if you will. So it's just, I like to put it on the actual cotton itself versus spraying it onto the material because it's going to be everywhere. But this product itself doesn't really do a whole lot of polishing, but what it does is it leaves a layer, if you will, that's up on top of there that's anti-static and this, that, and the other thing. So it's good to have as a last coating, if you will. Make sure it's all coated nice. I will do the other side after I take care of this one. And you can see how it stays wet for quite some time. There's definitely more in there than meets the eye, if you will. Becomes a pretty nice shiny surface. Although I don't see any difference between not using, very slightly, I guess. Very slightly. You can see a little bit better shine. And that's really all there is to it, you guys. You let me know what you think about that, because that just went from pretty well beat up from being handled a lot of years to being, I gotta say, mighty reasonable. I don't know how to show this to you any better than I am. It's really optically. Let's see how close we can get this right over the lens. Okay, so now that video is being shot through this. That works pretty good. You guys let me know what you think.